the days like I was so fat, wasted, was drinking a whole sack. And battling the old for supper and sleeping on hot benches afternoon. That no one has forgotten to the man that truly wished thou would truly know. What the devil hast thou to do with the time of the day? Unless hours with cups of sack and minutes keep on the clubs, the tongues of words and hours, the signs of leaping houses, and the blessed sun himself. A fair heart wench in flame coloured avatar. I see no reason why thou shouldst be so superb to demand the time of the day. Indeed, you come near me now, how for we that take verses. God by the moon and the seven stars, and not by fever sea. But one very nice affair, and thy pretty sweet wine when thou art king. I can't say thy grace, majesty I should say, for grace thou wilt have none. No, but none. Not by my trot, not so much as well served and prolonged to an aid in the button. What how then come roundly, roundly? Now then, sweet wag, when thou art a king, let not us, as the squires of the night's body, be called thieves of the day's beauty. Let us be Diana's foresters, gentlemen of the shade, minions of the moon. And let men say we be men of good government, being governed, as the sea is, by our noble and chaste mistress the moon, under whose countenance we steal. Thou sayest well, and it holds well too, for the fortune of us that to the moon's men doth ebb and flow like the sea, being governed as the sea is by the moon. As the proof now, a purse of gold most resolutely snatched on Monday night, and most dissolutely spent on Tuesday morning. That was swearing lay-bys that we're crying, bring in. Now we're as low and as the foot of the ladder, and by in as high flows the ridge of the gallows. By the Lord, thou sayest true, lad, and is not my hostess of the tavern a most sweet wench as the honey of Hybla, my old lad of the castle, and is not a buff jerkin the most sweet robe of Durance. How now, mad wag, what are thy quips and thy quiddities? What a plague have I to do with a buff jerkin?
Many a time and oft did I ever call for thee to play thy part. Lord, give me that you thou hast paid over. Yeah, none elsewhere. So far as my coin would stretch, and where it would not have used my credit. Yeah, and so used it. The word not here apparent, but thou art heir apparent. I prithee should, why shall there be gallows standing in England when thou art king, and resolution does fob as it is, with the rusty curb of old father antic the law? Do not thou, when thou art king, hang a thief? No, thou shalt, shall I? Oh rare, by the Lord I'll be a brave judge. Thou judgest for so many, I mean thou shalt have the hanging of the thieves, and so become a rare hangman. Well, how well in some sort it jumps with my humor, as well as waiting in the court. I can tell you, for obtaining of suits, yeah, for obtaining of suits, whereof the hangman hath no lean wardrobe. Some sort of jumps with my humor. I am as melancholy as a gym cat or a love bear, or an old liar or a lover's lose. Yeah, on the throne of a Lincolnshire bagpipe. What sayest thou to a hair of a melancholy and lower humanity of good and for the people, and then the one of the cops were raided nearly other day in the street. About you seven unmarked him not, and yet he talked very wisely, but I regarded him not, and yet he talked wisely, and in the street too. That is 12, for wisdom cries out in the streets, and no man regards it. Although it's damnable iteration and art indeed able to corrupt the saint, thou hast done much harm upon me. How? God forgive you for it. Before I knew thee, how? I knew nothing, and now am I. If a man should speak truly little better than one of the wicked, I must give over this life, and I will give it over. By the Lord, and I do that, I am a villain. I'll be damned for never a king's son in Christendom.
Where shall we take it first tomorrow, Jack?
I see a good amendment of life in thee, from plain to purse taking. Why, how, 'tis my vocation, how? 'Tis no sin for a man to labor, it is vocation.
Now shall we know we've got show, set a match show. If men was to be saved by merit, what hole in hell were hot enough for it? This is the most omnipotent villain I've ever cried. Stand to a true man.
What's this the truth? Simon Sugar, Jack, unleash the devil and be about thy soul, and my soul is here on the Friday last. Woke up on the deer, and the cold came on his leg, cold came on his leg, cold came on his leg, cold came on his leg. Good Lord, good Lord, sweet how? What says Monsieur Remorse? Sir John stands devil shall have his bargain, for he was never yet a breaker of proverbs. He will give the devil his due. Then art thou done for keeping my word with the devil, else he had been done for closing in the devil. My lads, tomorrow morning by 4 o'clock, when you get your look, pilgrims coming to Canterbury with rich offerings and traders, right into London with fat purses. I have visitors for you, or you have horses for yourself. Get your eyes tonight in Rochester, I have bespoke. Supper tomorrow night in East Street, we may do it as secure as sleep. If you will go, I will stuff your purses full of crowns. If you will not, tarry your home and be hanged.
If I tarry at home and go and drop, I'll hang you for both. So let them make one. I rob, I a thief, not I by my faith. This nigga honest man wouldn't know good. Fellowship in me, no alchemist, not of the blood. Royal, if thou darest not stand for 10 shillings, women once in my days I'll be a madcap. Why, that's where the said will come with me. I'll tarry at home. By the Lord, I'll be a traitor then when thou art king. I care not, Sir John, I freely leave the prince in me alone. I will lay him down such reasons for this adventure that he shall go. Will God give thee the spirit of persuasion and him the ears of prophecy, that what thou speakest plain? Move and what he hears may be believed, that the true prince may for recreation's sake prove a false thief. For the poor abuses of the time on countenance, farewell, you shall find me at East Street. Farewell, thou land latter spring. Farewell all along the summer. Farewell, our latter spring. Farewell, all along summer.
Now my good sweet honey, Lord, ride with us tomorrow. I have a guest to execute that I cannot manage alone. Falstaff, Bardolph, Peter and Daxo shall rob those men that we have already waylaid. Yourself and I will not be there, and when they have the booty, if you and I do not rob them, cut this head off from my shoulders. How shall we part with them in setting forth? Why, we will set forth before or after them, and appoint them a place of meeting, wherein it is their pleasure to fail. And then will they adventure upon the exploit themselves, which they shall have no sooner achieved, but will set upon them.
Yeah, but 'tis like that. They will know us by our horses, by our habits, and by every other appointment to be ourselves.
Tut! Our horses they shall not see. I'll tie them in the wood. Our visitors we will change after we leave them. And sirrah, I have cases of buckram for the nonce to amass down-noted outward garments.
Yeah, but I doubt they will be too hard for us.
Well, for two of them I know them to be as true-bred cowards as ever turned back. And for the third, if he fight longer than he sees reason, I'll forswear arms. The virtue of this jest will be the incomprehensible lies that this same fat rogue will tell us when we meet at supper. How 30 at least he fought with, what wars, what blows, what extremities he endured. And in the reproof of this lies the jest. Well, I'll go with thee, provide us all things necessary, and meet me tomorrow night in his cheap. There I'll stop. Farewell, farewell, my lord. Farewell, my lord.
I know you want a little while upon beyond your humor of your idleness. Your hearing will I imitate.
on a solemn ground, a red formation glittering on my foe, should show more goodly and attract more eyes than that which hath no foil to set it off.
I so offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will. I so offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will.